So Zach Lowe tweeted that if some aliens came down to Earth and watched basketball for the first time, and they just happened to stumble upon the Milwaukee Bucks, they might think that the Bucks were the best team in the NBA. Because depending on which time you look at them, they look frickin' unbeatable with some of the blowout wins they've had this season. The Bucks are currently 18-16 on the year. They're 10th in offensive rating as well as defensive rating, so that's something. So I want to look at this team, I want to look at Giannis and Jabari Parker and the rest of the roster and see, can these guys really be contenders, not this year, but moving down the road if we fast forward a couple of seasons, and could they actually challenge the Cleveland Cavaliers? Also, this gameplay gets really ugly towards the end. I'm going to warn you about that right now. Now, with something like that, first and foremost is you need a top 10 player, potentially even a top 5 one. Giannis is definitely on the way to being that good. In terms of his season averages, 24 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 54% from the field, shooting about 8 free throws a game, where he's shooting about 78%. The thing with Giannis is the size and the ball handling ability that this guy has is just pretty damn ridiculous. He leads this team in playmaking just by a bit over Dellavedova, and you can run your offense through him, whether it be pick and rolls with him up top or just him going one-on-one. It seems like no matter who's in front of him, he has some sort of mismatch, because if it's a smaller player, then he can just use his size because he's too damn tall to be this good. And then if it's a bigger guy, he can just use his ball handling and his agility to get by them as well. But the thing I love with Giannis is some of the weird stuff he does because of how tall he is. If he gets a steal, it's automatically 2 points, because the type of strides that he can make with the ball in his hand is just ridiculous. But you can also do stuff like you can have him cut to the basket and just throw it remotely around the rim, and he's going to go get it and finish. And the Bucks do that, where they have him run off-ball stuff sometimes. So the question with Giannis, one is the three-point shot, because he's at below 30% at the moment. But this is the type of guy who you could walk into a series against the Cavaliers and LeBron James, not this year, probably not even next year, maybe the year after that, depending on the team around him and the progression, where you can say, yeah, we can actually beat you, because LeBron can do something crazy on one end and then Giannis can match it on the other one. And what intrigues me the most about Giannis is that he's shooting 70% at the basket. So this guy is almost impossible to stop attacking the rim, and then once he gets there, he's either going to finish or he's going to get fouled. So, I mean, there's definitely some LeBron James-esque signs to him. Can he actually become that good? Probably not, because that's asking a lot, but that doesn't mean he can't make LeBron James and the Cavaliers really have to go for it if these two meet in the conference finals or whatever a few years from now. But of course, there's more to this team than just Giannis. There's Jabari Parker as well. Jabari, for one, he's finally shooting three-pointers, as he's taking about 3 a game and shooting 39%. That's beautiful. 20 points, 6 rebounds overall, while also shooting about 50% from the field. Jabari's just super crafty. The way they use him is sometimes they'll get him in isolations within the three-point line, where he can use jab steps and he can take one dribble and then immediately spin to the other side and use his physicality to finish over you. He's just really good at like creating angles with one dribble and pump fakes, spin moves, jab steps. Jabari is just a very smart offensive player who knows how to use his body to create angles. He can finish at weird angles, so he's pretty damn tough to defend with the ball in his hand. And now the three-pointers as well is huge, and the way he gets his threes is often off-ball stuff, whether it be someone driving inside, Giannis or whoever, and then you gotta provide help, and then Jabari can just back up to the three-point line. He does get some in transition as well, and actually I should speak on the duo of Jabari and Giannis in the open floor is just ridiculous. Like, if this team gets a turnover, they're going to score with those two. And the moment Jabari walked into the league, he was a very good cutter. He still has that part of his game. He's really good at knowing where to go to receive a pass from a ball handler driving inside. So, with these two as the foundation of this team, that's just crazy, because you have a 22-year-old in Giannis who's like 7 feet tall, with his ball handling and playmaking abilities, and he's unstoppable going to the basket. He also grabs 9 rebounds a frickin' game. And then you have a 21-year-old in Jabari who's going to average like 25 points a game plus for a really damn long time. So those two right away, the star power is there to where I'm like, yeah, these guys could actually challenge the Cavaliers in a couple of seasons. But of course, there is a whole roster here. Chris Middleton is hurt. He's a very good shooter. He's also got some good height on him. Middleton's the type of guy who you can also run a lot of plays for. He can get out in transition and score, and of course there's the shooting. He's really like a not as good version of Klay Thompson with his ability to shoot and the size he has and his ability to play defense as well. So he'll be great for these guys. They're running Jabari at the 4 spot, which I still think he's a natural small forward, but I also understand how that could create mismatches. And now to flip it over to defense for a minute, which I will dive into a bit deeper as we go, the potential between Middleton, Giannis, and Jabari to switch multiple positions is pretty real. Middleton's already a good defender. I believe Giannis is making strides in that area. That's one part of Jabari's game he's had to really improve on. I mean, if we fast forward some time, perhaps these three can really become good enough at switching, because all three of them have the physical traits to defend multiple positions. I think it'll take some time for those three to get to that point, but I think the possibility of it happening is pretty real. The signing of Dellavedova has been pretty good. His efficiency has dipped down as the season's gone on. He's actually shooting under 40%, and his three-point shot has also not been very good as well. I don't know if he's the starting point guard of this team. I like the idea of having a defensive point guard who can shoot threes next to Giannis, but if his three-pointers aren't going to drop, then he's probably not the ideal starter. I could see him coming off the bench, definitely. But then there's two more things I want to talk about. One of them is Malcolm Brogdon. This rookie is really damn good. 9 points a game, 4 assists, 45 from the field, 41% from 3. He's probably the best rookie out of this draft class so far. Of course, Ben Simmons has not played, but immediate thing with Brogdon is his three-point shooting. I mean, you cannot leave this guy open because he's shooting over 40%. If they leave him open, which you kind of have to do sometimes given how good Giannis and Jabari are, Brogdon's going to knock it down. But the thing that's so interesting with him is he can really put the ball on the floor. They're using him as the lead guard sometimes. He's in pick and rolls. He's in isolations. He can create his own shot. You see the 4 assists, so he's creating for other guys. I mean, Brogdon, he's 24 years old, so I don't know how much improvement he's really going to make over the next few seasons. I don't know if he's going to become a star or anything, but I could see this guy definitely putting up 14 or 15 points a game and being a real sixth man for these guys. I mean, he's playing 24 minutes a game right now. Like, Brogdon was really the steal of this recent draft. But the other thing we got to talk about is the center position, because what they have going right now, I mean, it's definitely not bad. It could be better. They have Greg Monroe, who is a slow-footed center who can score on the low block, which is not really a thing that they want to do with Monroe. He's averaging 10 points and 7 rebounds. For what he's doing, he's definitely overpaid for this team. He's making $18 million a year, as they have him coming off the bench playing 20 minutes a game. The thing with Monroe is, in today's NBA, teams just really don't want to dump the ball into the post like that, especially a team like this that is so pick and roll and isolation and transition heavy. I mean, that's pretty much all their offense. Like, their offense isn't super complex. It's pretty much simple stuff, so Monroe is not ideal for that. That being said, they have used his passing ability very well. He is a good passer as a big man, and they get the ball to him in the high post sometimes, and then they have, a lot of the times, Jabari cutting off of that, but they do run off-ball movement with him. But he is also a deterrent, because there are times when Giannis or Jabari will be in an isolation, and Monroe's just kind of in the paint. So that just stops them from really going head-on to the basket because he's in the frickin' way. Now, sometimes it results in him receiving a dump-off pass because he is pretty good at knowing where to be to receive one, but it also means, again, sometimes he's just a flat-out obstruction around the basket. Now, on the other side of things, John Henson, who is a pretty damn good defensive center, is starting for them and playing about 20 minutes a game. If you remember when I talked about the Bucks I think before the season started, I wanted John Henson to start. He's not an ideal starting center in the sense of, 1, he fouls a lot, and 2, he's not the best rebounder. His last 7 games, he's grabbed like at the most 5 rebounds, and he's playing like over 20 minutes a game or very close to 20 minutes a game in these. So I don't know if he's a guy who can consistently play like 30 plus minutes for you. But for 20 minutes in the defense he provides for you, that's pretty damn good. In a perfect world, these guys would be able to sign Nerlens Noel. Unfortunately, they can't do that because of the salary they have committed to pretty much Miles Plumlee and Greg Monroe. Now, if Monroe declined his player option of $18 million, which I have no idea if he's going to do or not, and then you were able to dump Miles Plumlee's $12.5 million, which you probably can't do, so this is basically a pipe dream, then you could be in the running for a free agent. It's probably not going to happen. So they're kind of stuck with the centers they have. Again, I like John Henson, and I'm actually cool with Greg Monroe coming off the bench doing the things he can do, but there's definitely better options that they'd probably rather have. But still, these guys are defending. They're 5th in fast break points at the moment, which does not surprise me given Giannis and Jabari's ability to get out on the break. And that foundation, really, of Giannis, Jabari, who Giannis is definitely going to be a top 10 player soon, if he's not already. Jabari could end up being top 20. Chris Middleton, who is, again, a not as good version of Klay Thompson. And then Brogdon being something off the bench as a scorer and a shooter. That's a lot going right there. Can they manage it with the center situation? Maybe. And as for Dellavedova, he might be the ideal point guard. It depends if those 3-pointers are dropping, but regardless, I think with how good Giannis and Jabari can be, this team really could cause problems for the Cavaliers a few years down the road. It's going to be a matter of if they can round out the roster, which, given how much money they have committed to their guys over the next couple seasons, it's not exactly going to be easy. They are banking on improvement here. But luckily for them, the guys they have seem like they're going to be really something. So, also, shout out to Teletovic, because that was a free agent signing that I was pretty big on, and he's been good as a shooter for them. Also, there's Thon Maker. I mean, who the hell knows with him? He's 19 years old, and so I'm done. This team's good. They're exciting.